This episode of Talkin' About Rock is sponsored by Unleashed Music. Drawing on years of experience, contacts, and partnerships, Unleashed Music is uniquely positioned to platform, develop, and realize the vision of artists of all genres. Achieve your goals by partnering with Unleashed Music and take advantage of their decades of experience to help you create and execute your marketing campaign. Visit unleashedmusic.com for more info.
On this episode, the legendary Gil Moore of Triumph.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Talking About Rock. I'm Rob Edwards. Here we bring you rock interviews from veteran and upcoming artists. Subscribe on our YouTube channel to stay up to date. Follow us on our social media and our website, talkingaboutrock.com. On Friday, June 6, 2025, one of the greatest and most successful Canadian rock bands of all time, Triumph, will be honored with a star-studded tribute album, Magic Power, an all-star tribute to Triumph. It will arrive via Roundhill Records, featuring such renowned rockers as Dorothy, Sebastian Bach, Nancy Wilson, Joey Belladonna, Slash, and Jeff Keith, covering these classic Triumph tunes. Next up, the legendary Gil Moore on Talking About Rock. All right, today's guest is best known as the rock and roll powerhouse drummer and co-vocalist for the Canadian award-winning band Triumph. He's also the owner of Canada's biggest recording studio, Metalworks Studio. Here now to chat with us about the star-studded tribute album, Magic Power, all-star tribute to Triumph. Let's welcome legendary Gil Moore to the show. Oh, Gil.
Hi, Robert. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it, man. So obviously Triumph is a world-renowned for their legendary arena rock shows, amazing music, positivity and strength. What in your opinion would you say made this such a legendary band that's still talked about all the time?
I think, all bands that get going beyond the beginning stages have to have luck to some degree. And the luck is meeting the right musicians. I just look at, you say the biggest bands in the world, the Beatles. If you took, away the chance meeting that, John and Paul had at art school,
Right.
maybe there would had never have Beatles, or Mick and Keith, like how is it that they end up, in the same place at the same time? So we were no different than all bands start at the bottom, and most bands fail. So we were no different. And what was really the change for us was the combination, I guess, because whether it was Rick's bands weren't doing well, my bands weren't doing well, Mike's bands weren't doing well, but when we came together as three individuals, it was a completely different story. So I get back into luck. I think that's my answer.
Yeah,
Luck.
just gelling together with the right people, definitely. And you guys worked at it very, very hard. There's no doubt. You spent like about 6 months out of the year usually touring, right? So that had to be kind of grueling back in the day, right?
We were ready, we were really, really intense as far as rehearsing and writing. I mean, we were not lazy, I'll say that. And again, I think this another lucky thing, I think Mike and I were bluesmen, really, and Rick was progressive rock-ish. And that was a bit of an odd combo, to have these blues guys playing with a progressive rock guitarist. And, maybe that gave us, a little different edge to our sound and, gave us a bit of a signature. So, but how the fans reacted was a big change for all three of us based on previous groups. I don't think there's a musician out there that can't tell you a story about starting out and having a disinterested audience and some club owner telling you, you guys aren't very good. So you get that negative feedback, you get enough of it, and when you finally get a chance where you think you're going to do something, you'll work really hard to make it happen if it starts to click because it's the feedback from the audience is just so fantastic. It's like, it's just I don't know. It's the octane that runs the whole thing going forward with the bands, the relationship with those people that are behind you and they've got your back and they like your music, and it's a great experience when you have an audience.
Yeah, definitely. You guys had such a distinctive sound and style. Everybody knew when you guys hit the stage, the lights went down, and it was time for Triumph. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So let's talk about the tribute album you guys got coming out. So you got a 15-track album, Magic Power, All-Star Tribute to Triumph. You got some amazing people on here, man. You got Kenny Aronoff, Tommy Aldridge, Bumblefoot, Paul Gilbert, Nita Strauss, just to name a couple of these people. Um, how did you start putting this together? Did they approach you, or did you guys come up with this, or?
No, Mike Klink came up with the idea, or the strategy, I guess. I mean, it was something that had been mentioned to us as an idea, and initially we just went, no, I don't think this isn't going to happen, or which I don't know, just something you don't really wrap your head around very easily. And then we thought, well, you know what? We should ask Mike because he's kind of our guru on that side.
Yeah,
The
definitely. And for
producing.
those people that don't know, obviously Mike Klink produced, recordings, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, White Snake, a lot of creds there for sure.
Yeah, Mike's the man. And when he got behind it, it was all of a sudden, well, it was his deal, it was his production, it was all his musicians, contacts, and so on. And I'm completely floored by the people that are on the record. And it's humbling for Mike and Rick and I to realize like all these great musicians, like we're fans of any of them on here for crying out loud. They're all fantastic. There is nobody on there that doesn't have, a big career and a big track record, a big history and a legacy in music. So we were really honored that they did this. And the credit goes to Mike having the vision. Uh, Mike Klink is really, a maestro in the studio when he gets behind the board, and he knows how to motivate people and how to get sounds, and it's really, really great. I think he just did a fantastic job on this.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the tracks here and some of the people that you have featured on here. So it starts out with 24 Hours a Day. Here you got Sebastian Bach on that track, and also on Rock and Roll Machine, he's belting that out as well, which I thought was very fitting. Did you guys have a little bit of say in any of that? Like who was gonna do what, or did they just discuss it with you? Or?
Mike discussed it, with us a little bit, but it was just kind of to get confirmation. I mean, there were
Mhm.
some things that were a natural fit, like you mentioned Sebastian, for example, and he'd performed Rock and Roll Machine with us on stage before.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No secret that he's a huge Triumph fan, right?
Yeah, Sebastian is an awesome guy, and he's obviously he's from Canada, proud of being a Canadian, but he lives in America, and he's done some amazing songs over the years and continues to perform. We love him. He's been to Metalworks. I don't know what I can say. I get a big charge out of every time I see Sebastian. All of a sudden, my heart beats faster, and
He's
you know,
got a lot
I
of
can,
energy, definitely,
yeah,
right?
I can
We'll
feel
just
his
say
en- I
that.
can feel his energy, man. He's something else.
Definitely. So let's talk about some of the other ones here. So you got Magic Power, you got Joey Belladonna on that one. Very cool. And an interesting choice, I thought, for the next one, Spellbound with Mickey Thomas from Starship on there,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Joey's the thing that's amazing. He's a drummer too, and he did great work with Anthrax and so on. And I've seen other things that he's done, and he's got a magic voice, really. Just the way he floats a lot of those high tenor-ish phrases. Very, very unique uh, technique that he has, and I thought he just did a spectacular job. Mickey Thomas, I've always been in awe of his voice.
Right.
And
Still sounds great to this day, right?
oh man, he just killed Spellbound. I mean, when Mike Klink, he would send us, rough cuts of the tracks, like just when they were just unmixed and stuff. But he would say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And when he sent that vocal from Mickey Thomas, I just texted him back and said, "Well, he just blew me away."
Yeah,
I
definitely
love him.
sounds cool. I've been checking out the tracks that you guys sent me, the preview tracks. It's definitely sounding great. So next up, you guys got Lay It on the Line with Dee Snider, and then you got Somebody's Out There with Lawrence Gowan. So I thought those were pretty interesting choices, both of those, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Lawrence is, a bud for a long time. He's recorded some of his solo work at Metalworks. He's just done this outstanding job, obviously, with Styx, and he sings like a bird, and he's just absolutely killer on keyboards as well. If anybody that's seen him knows that. So it was an honor to have him on there, and Dee, I think, surprised a lot of people, that he would be, attempting that track.
Yeah, it's a very commanding track. Like when he's
Yeah,
singing it, you better like get off your butt when he's saying lay it on the line. It's like you better move your butt when he's singing that track.
yeah, like I would have thought, D was like I relate to him, obviously with his career in Twisted Sister, and I wouldn't have married him with that track. I would have married him with something more aggressive and less melodic or whatever. Mike thinks, no, 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 D's the guy, D's the guy. So guess who's right? Mike is right. Like he worked with D, knows D, and he just had a feeling for it. It's kind of like when he picked Nancy Wilson to sing "Fight the Good Fight," and you know, again, putting a female voice on there would not be something that would be initially the first thought you had. You'd think, oh, it'd probably be a male guy, a bit of a screamer with a really high tenor,
Right.
and she just made it her own song in
Right.
a beautiful way.
Yeah, another one I thought was really a perfect fit, right? You got Jeff Keith doing Hold On from Tesla. I
Yeah,
was I
no,
I was like this. I think that's one of the standouts on here for sure.
I agree with you. And the funny thing is, up here in Canada, there's an organization called the Coalition for Music Education, and they run an annual event across all the high schools and elementary schools and some universities right across Canada, coast to coast. They have over 100,000 kids and young adults singing that song, singing Hold on May the 5th, all around lunchtime, and school choirs, tons and tons of school choirs. We're holding an event at Metalworks on the 5th, like a live event as well, at the exact time for Music Monday, which is that lunchtime period. And I'm hoping, we can somehow involve Jeff because he did such a great job on the song. And I know he's not up here where we are in Canada right now, but I'm wondering if the event organizers can get him in somehow with satellite or pre-record or some sort of hookup.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Rick was
Yeah,
talking to us on the show a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us about what was going on with Hold On, and he said he was just so humbled by that. Having your music be remembered like something like that is just great.
yeah, it's humbling for us, I can tell you that. I mean, it's just imagine it. You start out, you never think as a young band, you never think you're going to win an award. You never think you're going to get a gold record. You never think in a million years that some other musicians are going to record a record, a tribute to your band. It's unimaginable. So when it happens, it just I don't know, really makes you reflect on the songs, the time that we spent together, and it was also great to have Phil back in the band. Of course, I mean Phil is just a unreal guitarist, and Phil was actually the first person that Mike Klink contacted, obviously because he's a Triumph member, and Phil just killed Allied Forces. I think was the very first track that Mike decided to record was Allied Forces, and Phil was basically the you know the engine for that song, both vocally and on guitars and stuff. So
Yeah, just some great stuff on here. You got so many star-studded performances going on here. Very, very cool. And you're also the owner of, like you were saying earlier, Metalworks Studio here. It's located in Mississauga, Ontario. You guys have been doing this for 40 years. You've done stuff with Drake, GNR, Aerosmith. I mean, Jonas Brothers. I mean, there's always people talking about we're going into the Metalworks Studio. That's amazing to me still to this day.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was an easy transition for me because I was always a bit of a gear guy, a bit of a gearhead, and even in Triumph, I was always more comfortable, with the the technology and the show and the crew and everything than being on stage front and center. I was not really the outgoing type, even though once you get going in a show like that, other people have said to me, "Oh, what are you talking about? You were into it." Yeah, I was into it, but it's just I'm more comfortable behind the scenes, to be honest. So it was an
Yeah.
easy transition when we stopped touring for me to like really concentrate on the studio, and I still love it. I just love the studio environment. And we also have a live sound and lighting company as well at Metalworks. So the cool thing there is we get to go out and do, fancy light shows and video walls, and we've got, sound equipment that just blows my mind. Is so much better than the stuff we were using, back in the day. So I'm still, kind of living that dream, if you want to call it that, of music every single day of my life, even though I'm not touring. So I'm a lucky guy that way.
Yeah, definitely. And you talked about some of the awards, that Triumph's earned over the years, and you also received an award this year for the King Charles III Coronation Medal. I didn't even know there was such a thing, so I had to kind of look that up. So this is a commemorative medal created to mark the coronation of King Charles III, and it's given to contributions for Canadians for outstanding recognition, to benefit Canada. Basically, you had to be pretty honored with that.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I was kind of shocked when that came about, and we just do what we do at Metalworks. Whether it's our school where we got great instructors and some students that are wanting to get into the business or improve their skills, or our sound and lighting dudes, all our engineers in the studio, all these people, they do great work. And sometimes I end up getting the credit, more so, me being the guy that started it. But I got to tell you, there's a magnificent team of people at Metalworks, in all three of those areas that are what keeps our reputation, what it's become, after 4 decades. And I'm grateful to them. And they deserve any awards we get. They deserve them every bit as much or more than I do. I can tell you that.
Definitely, definitely, just an outstanding place. And I got to ask you that we'll finish up here. The one thing that people are always asking me, and we spoke to Rick a little bit about this, and he told us you guys are in the planning stages of putting together a Triumph Rock experience. What can you share with us, man? Fans are chomping at the bit to hear a little bit more. I'm telling you.
So something I've been working on with Paul Dexter, he's our lighting designer from back in the day, and Paul's really kind of a genius behind the lighting board. And he was involved in the early stages of holograms. Like he did Ronnie Dio from Sabbath, and he did Frank Zappa as well. And we got together because I was trying to look at a way to bring Triumph back to life because people wanted us to tour, but I knew I couldn't because I didn't have the time. And you reach a certain stage after we did the documentary and we performed, and I said, you know what? The type of performance we did, like the vocals were so high and there was so much high
I
energy.
know. I think about that a lot. I'm like, Rick didn't give himself any room. I'm like, that was
Yeah,
killer.
yeah. Like I saw the Eagles this year, and I thought, certain types of music are easier on you physically. The hard rock power trio is probably about as tough as it gets. Singing and playing drums, for example, that's another thing. It's like a double whammy.
Right.
So, I wanted to see if there was a way through technology to do something completely different because I didn't really like the hologram situation. The hologram itself was pretty cool, but it's just the way I was sitting with Paul afterwards, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "The hologram's cool, but I said it's not a platform. It's just a feature on a platform." And that became the turning point. He said, "A feature on a platform, not the platform." And he was, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Well, we need something that surrounds that. That's just one effect."
Right.
And so we set out on this path towards mixed reality, which was starting to become, something that was being talked about in research circles and so on at the time. AI hadn't kicked in yet. And there were some additional types of projection technology that were coming along that were more sophisticated than how these original holograms were produced using the Pepper's Ghost technique. And so we just pursued it over a bunch of years. So we've got it to the point now where we really think we've kind of nailed it. And what the concept is in like 10 words or less, it's just you bringing the original band virtually in with the new musicians. So you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the power of and the strength of some of the best musicians in the world who we've recruited, by the way, from this album, from the tribute album. So this would be Phil X's Triumph when it comes out. If we get it launched, which we're hoping is going to happen either later this year or in early next year, there will still be Mike, Rick, and Gil in the show, but we'll be there virtually. And hopefully this will be the first power trio with 6 people in it. So
Yeah, it just sounds amazing,
that's
man.
the plan.
It sounds
But
amazing.
it's a wild plan, and we'll have to see where it goes,
Yeah, I know a lot of Triumph fans are looking forward to this. I get that question at least like once a week. Have you heard anything about? I'm like, we all hope, but they were so amazing. And then when Rick kind of told us a little bit about that, I'm like, oh, this could be very, very cool.
Yeah, well, we're pretty excited about it. And Paul Dexter's a genius. And we've got other people. We've got a team, a technical team of about a half dozen guys. And then, of course, Phil he's looking at just some great guys to work with as well that are just the best. Like I said, they're guys from this tribute album. They're the best guys you can get anywhere in the world to play hard rock. So I think it would be, if it all gels, it's gonna be really something. So, but I have my fingers crossed. We'll just keep her going and do our best and see where we land.
Yeah, we definitely look forward to that. Very, very cool. All right, so everyone out there, June 6th, 2025 is the release day for Magic Power, the All-Star tribute to Triumph. Amazing tribute album. It sounds fantastic. Very cool. So that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thank you to my guest today, Gil Moore, and shout out to our sponsors, School of Rock North Buffalo and Unleashed Music. And we hope everyone listening is keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Gil, again, thanks for being with us, man.
Thanks so much.